instruments, but also with the UN and with individual bilateral diplomatic relations, is that issues of human rights are always put on the back burner, or sort of come to the front burner when a capital is being attacked, or when there's a crisis or a coup, and then they kind of get put to the back burner. I'll give you an example. In Guinea, in 2007, after the late President Lansana Conté died, and then the junta of Dadis Camara, rather interesting leader, came in, and so I went around. I went in January, and I went around to the various different embassies, and I said, I think this is the moment to now start talking about justice for the deaths of over 130 people who were killed in 2007, in January and in February 2007, when the Red Berets and some of the other military went out and gunned down demonstrators who were demonstrating against bad governance and so on and so forth. And they said, "Oh, Madame Corinne, there you go again. Just let that one pass, because now we're into, a window is opening, the window for democracy, the window for change. Just forget the human rights and justice issue, and let us now get on to the next chapter of Guinea's life, which is going to be, hopefully lead to elections," even though they weren't terribly, supportive of Dadis. And look what happened. You had just 10 months, 9 months later, we have a massacre in the stadium, horrific massacre, sort of, so many, over 100 women publicly raped and so on. So, always that issue, the justice issue and also the development agenda take the forefront, and the justice agenda, the anti-impunity efforts to address impunity put in the back burner. And I think if we look at history, if those issues are not addressed, usually they come back to haunt the people, and they undermine the very issues that the diplomatic community and others are trying to shore up. So anyway, I do want to say that ECOWAS and the African Union have really, especially ECOWAS, I would say, they really, I think perhaps more than the other regional institutions, and perhaps even more than the African Union, I would say more than the African Union, have really stood their ground with respect to taking a position against coups. Even in Guinea, people forget that it was ECOWAS who asked for the Commission of Inquiry. First time, I think, that a regional organization like that asked for the Commission of Inquiry, right? After the stadium massacre. They are starting to include in their communiques mention of the importance of impunity. And again, they've taken a very, very strong stance against the coups in Niger, in Guinea, of course in Mali, and then even in Cote d'Ivoire, it was the African Union, or the ECOWAS rather, who were much more forthcoming and took a much sort of firmer stand on the violence in Cote d'Ivoire. So I think there is a lot of progress there, and we work with them hand in hand to try to build on that. Last really quick point on the issue of regional or international justice, and you mentioned the African Court. There's a balance between, in terms of justice, between pushing national judiciaries. Again, Guinea is a perfect example with how the international community is, even though the International Criminal Court has said that they will take on the case of the stadium, but Guinea is saying, no, we're going to do it. They assigned 3 judges, juges d'instruction. Those judges are working away. They have made a lot of progress in addressing, again, there's more to be done, but I think it's always better when the national judiciary can address those cases. Even obviously there are some cases when it's
anyone wants to add something?
My question actually is, any one of you guys can take on it. We've seen reports since the start of the war in the north of Mali, reports stating, human rights violations, atrocities happening to women, children. Lots of reports. We've seen condemnation from different countries, the United States, the European Union. But those atrocities are still happening. The rebels are getting stronger. Even today in the news, I read somewhere that ACAMI has reinforced its ranks in Mali. So I'm just wondering, what's the international community doing by just sitting still, not doing much, and people are fleeing from north of Nigeria, from the Chad, from all around the Western African regions to come to Mali and reinforce ranks of those terrorists, and that are still doing everything they've been doing for many, many weeks now. So, I feel like, when will this stop? Do we need another Rwanda? Do we need another Afghanistan?